Well, welcome back to Honey and Soul. We are so excited that you guys have joined us again today. And today we're going to talk about something that, you hear a lot about, but I think that it kind of gets confusing. So, energy. So, I'm going to ask you, Mel, to debunk the woo-woo of energy and like what it really looks like and what is energy and how does it affect us? And, just tell us like, because I know you know a lot about this stuff. I know a lot about energy, but you're like the quantum girl. You're the quantum girl.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So I want to first start with just acknowledging, for example, we know that breath exists because we see its effects on us, right? Like we know when I inhale, like there's a response in my body. When I exhale, there's a response, but we can't actually contain it, hold it, touch it, poke it. We just see how it interacts with the environment. And it's the same thing with energy. So energy is such a cliche, hypey word right now. And you see a lot of stuff. I really want to, I wish we can really debunk the concept of esoteric. And I think the reason I say that is because a lot of people, when we just believe that this kind of stuff is esoteric or it's new agey or woo-woo, we don't actually explore to understand what this means for our health. And then we continuously give our power away and our self-responsibility in our well-being away because we don't know how to be well. We don't know how to interact with it. And the bridge that gives us access to wellness really is energy. Energy is vitality. It is our ability to function. When you go to sleep, you get a good night's rest, you wake up the next day and you feel energized. If I'm depleted and I'm hungry, after I eat, I feel energized.
Right.
Okay, so this is not some vibrating, now when we talk about vibration and frequency, it's because you can take energy and measure frequency. You can find the measurement of what things are vibrating at. What is it resonating at? And that's honestly how a lot of research will explore the effects of different mindfulness practices on the body is based off of frequencies in the cells.
So when my energy is low, I'm operating at a lower frequency, correct?
Probably. If you're feeling depleted and sick, yeah, you're probably having a lower resonance in your body.
Okay, let's say I'm feeling sad or feeling, alone, lonely. Okay, so that's my energy is feeling, sad and lonely.
So energy is not going to communicate and say I'm sad. It's going to it might have a lower vibration, right? And that's how the body works, you guys. The body doesn't speak in these narratives. The body just knows, and this is why you got to be aware of just even watching things on social media or on TV, that even if you're not in a stressful environment, if you're having an experience and getting stressed out, your body doesn't know the difference. So it's still going to have the same physiological responses as if you were in that stressful environment.
Okay, so what do we do, or what would one do if they are looking at social media and have that physical response?
The first thing is make sure you're aware of your body posture and the way, where you're at and how you're holding and sitting. Because if you notice, if you're scrolling, you might notice you're not actually breathing, you're holding your breath. And they did a study, this is so profound. They did a study and found that when you're stalking somebody's social media profile that makes you feel insecure or uncomfortable, you actually have the same physiological response as if you're in a room that's pitch black and you all of a sudden hear someone walking up behind you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's
so it's fear.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's just the vibration of that though. It's really limbic brain. It's really this survival and holding tension. Yeah. And we do that on our phones. We don't realize what impact that's having in our body, the experience we're having.
So it's almost like nerve wracking, like nervousness. You feel that in your tummy, where do I feel that? And then you would go deeper into that feeling, correct?
Yes, and I would even say that that's an immune response, that your body's going, wait, okay, what do we need to do to protect, to regulate, to prepare?
So fight or flight.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is really important when we're looking at understanding what it is to get that this is actually a natural thing about being human that we have. Is that we have resonances we give off. And that's why sometimes you can be around people and you just feel so good around certain people.
Right.
Or you might be around places or people and you're like,
this
Something's
doesn't,
off.
yeah,
Yeah.
something's off. And it's energy.
Mhm.
And I feel people's energy. Like when I walk in a room, I can feel the energy. I can kind of like feel the energy of the room. And it affects, it used to affect me a lot. I've learned,
Mhm.
you know, things to do in order to protect my energy and put up those, you know, glass walls. I don't, you know, it's just some stuff that I've learned throughout the years. But I know that when I'm feeling low, when my energy is feeling low or I'm feeling low, it's usually because of my thoughts.
Yes. Okay. This is perfect. So thought is so important. If you guys have heard of Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared.
Mhm.
E is energy. Energy is the byproduct of matter times current squared. Matter, your body. Current, your thought, or what currents are going into your body. So what happens is that your thought does affect your body because it goes into your cellular imprint.
Right.
The frequency of your thought, if it's negative thinking, that frequency is going to inform your whole body functioning.
So what does that affect?
Oh, it can affect GI stuff, so gut health. It's going to affect your breathing. It's going to affect how your cells function. Actually, that's probably the most important part. Everybody has heard of mitochondria, right?
Mhm.
We learned that in like high school science or something.
I'll explain it again.
Mitochondria,
Yeah.
yeah. And I gotta tell you, it's so funny because I was not good in school, and that's because I don't do well in like standard. I'm just not.
A rule
like,
follower.
I really am. I struggle. I set rules and then I break my own rules. Like anyway.
Guilty.
So mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell. So if you look at a cell, you have this, I mean, you basically have part of the cell is where vitality, like how it thrives. Your cells, the way they interact and operate are dependent on the vitality of your mitochondria. When you're under a lot of stress, it takes a lot of metabolic load, which is going to affect the functioning of the mitochondria. So the cell, it's almost like a battery, a phone. And if the battery's dying, like the mitochondria is the battery. And if the battery's dying, it's just not going to work as well.
Right.
And what happens when our cells don't work well is they don't rehabilitate your body appropriately. They might not follow the instructions they're supposed to do. And I mean, even when look at cancer, they say that cancer is just cells that have broke they break rules, like they're not following the rules.
Right.
And so and that's why a lot of chronic illness looks the way it is stress related. A lot of these things are stress related because stress is just like energy. Stress doesn't have a physical container, but we know about stress because we see the way it affects us. So what they do, we can measure stress and it has its own frequency and it can disrupt the way the body operates. So
what are some things to help with stress?
So many. The first is awareness, right? Like
right.
What I tell my students is that when you start to feel stressed out, that's feedback from the universe or feedback in your environment saying, this is not you.
Right.
This is not me. And stress is the informer for you need to set a boundary. This is not okay.
Yeah.
So if you can start to pay attention and listen to your body when you have these experiences, that is the first thing you can do. And then from there, it's all about down regulation and creating healthy patterns.
Right.
Down regulation is increasing your parasympathetic nervous system, your ability to relax, to digest and rest, right?
Right.
So this is not just that means that you need to go and just go to the spa and that's going to fix your problems. No. Yeah, it's your constant process of when you become aware of like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed. And it could be, you know what, I'm not going to go because I need to preserve and take care of myself. It could be, you know, like this is hard. I got to get it done, but I'm so human and just, I'm so compassionate with myself. And maybe I'll grab that chai latte on my way.
Right.
Or it might be, hey, friend, I'm struggling. I need help.
Right. And do we do that? I mean, think about
Not enough.
Not enough. We don't ask for help.
No.
We really don't.
And I can tell you, I've learned this about myself and I've been really trying to heal this in myself and if I could write a letter to my younger self, I would just go like this with her, is that it's okay to ask for help.
It's so okay to ask for help. I have many times in my life and you know, it always helps. Because we can't do it by ourselves. We really can't. We think we can, but at the end of the day, we need community. We need people that love us and, you know, that love us till we can love us.
And actually what's so beautiful about this is that our body has a built-in mechanism that makes us seek support when we're stressed. So what happens is when you get stressed out, oxytocin is released in your body. And they found, they're like, there's no reason that oxytocin, like what does it do for the stress response? Really nothing. But why is it released? Because it creates this, it's what makes you, because just so y'all know, oxytocin is like the cuddle hormone. It makes you want to like be with people and touch. Oxytocin is your biological response to say, hey, I need community, I need help. And it's what makes you seek help when you're stressed. So even our biology tells us we're not meant to face things alone.
Right, right. Well, I think that's amazing, this topic on energy. And I can't wait, one of our next episodes, we're going to dive into energy around the law of attraction and the power of positive thinking and how we can truly create our own reality with this energy, because it's all in our mind. It's all the way we think.
It's the current that you're putting in you is going to be the frequency that you put outside of you.
Right.
And so when we dive into these topics, like we wanted to have a foundational conversation.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much woo-woo around energy. And I want to remind you guys, I really believe, like if you look at the history, what happened is that in the late 1800s, early 1900s, you had the Catholic Church that banned all the things around quantum physics and this energy stuff. I mean, they only took pieces of it, right? But there's a whole world of it that really didn't get acknowledged, especially in mainstream. And then also you have the scientific method, which is very fragmented and sterile. We need to be able to find quantitative results about things and be able to prove it over and over. But just like breath, just like energy, just like stress, you can't put it in a box and just study it. You have to watch how it interacts with people and the things around you.
Right.
So if we can understand that, like, we have not been educated appropriately about this kind of stuff, we've been conditioned to believe it's weird or woo-woo or you got to be a hippie or something.
Yeah, and it's not about,
and I will say, I think that like there's been some spiritual materialism, which is basically where people are like good energy and they're very like kind of, it's very superficial, but I hope that as we've talked about this, that this helps you kind of break down the walls of exploring the power of energy and what it is in your body for your health and for what you attract around you and within you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think this was a very important, to get us kind of started on energy, on energy and law of attraction and, all the yummy stuff you can do with the law of attraction. I mean, we see it every day because we practice it, but it's a practice.
Yeah. I think that there's a reason when God says pray without ceasing or ask and receive. There's also a reason why we have planets around us and all this environmental frequency that's going on, that's natural from the earth. We have a lot of these resources, but because we have conditioned ourselves not to explore energy.
Right.
We don't optimize it. We don't understand it.
Exactly.
We judge it. We think people like me are weird.
We think people like me are weird too. But and maybe we are.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I'm a total weirdo. Warning.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in and subscribe to Honey and Soul. And we can't wait to see you next time.